Family Fun Day Friday! And you know, you can't spell daddy without the Addy. I said you can't spell daddy without the Addy! It would just be D. And that's my buddy's name. We already got a buddy named D.
Yeah.
Deontay Elliott. He's out there in the atmosphere. Guys, it's Family Fun Day Friday. We have a wonderful day here. We've been doing good stuff all morning, having fun, right?
Yeah.
Addy got some extra reading in on Good to Great because, you know, we're always closing and always practicing. And Addy knows the 3 rules of your personal brand. What are they, Addy? At least, what's number 3?
My most memorized one. Emotionally connect better than anyone else.
And we'll get to that later today with facts presented to you. Now, MK Ultra used to be a word that when brought up made people squirm, made them uneasy. But we know you have a high IQ. We know you're intelligent. And you know MK Ultra is a real project that this government ran under Alan Dulles and multiple other people that we're going to show you and talk about today.
Yes, we are.
What did they do?
What did they do?
What are they still doing?
Still doing.
That's the question today that we're going to get on to you and help you ask and find out about because it is shocking nonetheless. Now, it is Family Funny Friday. We have a beautiful show. We're going to do some simultaneous sip. We're going to get that pledge. Addie's got some good jokes for us. We want to give a shout out to Marcus, Uncle Marcus over here. Addie's got her giddy up. She's got her cool hat on. She wears this thing. She wears this thing all the time. She loves it, Marcus. Thank you for getting to it. It's Family Funny Friday, so we're doing Hat Day. Yep. Daddy's got his special hat on that blocks the CIA from shooting us with lasers that could cause us to think irrational. That sounds like something made up from a movie.
But it's not.
Wait till we get to the study today and show you. In fact, it's all real. It's all real. It's 100% real. Not even. It's not make-up believe. It's not science fiction.
Nope.
These are confirmed cases. You can go to the Freedom of Information Act, which we have up right now on our board.
Boom.
You can go Freedom of Information Act and Electronic Reading Room, and you can just type in any of these things. You can go to the top secret NSA archive, which we're also looking at right now. So this is the government website, guys. We're on the government website, and we're on the other government website for Freedom of Information Act. So we're on both official platforms that you can just go type it in and then sit here and read. Now, we're going to be honest, they got a lot of stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
They're going to bore you to death with a bunch of pointless stuff to read, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, if you dig deep, like these journalists do, you find some messed up stuff. All truth, all happening in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, now, right now, in 2026.
2003.
And we're going to only do, what we know in facts. We're not going to point out some of the theories, right?
Right.
We're just going to show you the facts.
Show you the facts.
And MK Ultra had 149 sub-projects. We're going to read a bunch of them off here. We have the full list of 149 now. We have located the source. We have all of them. We can tell you all about it.
Yep.
And that's going to happen today in today's special. So we thank you for tuning in. We are a little after our primetime slot, but that's okay.
Because you can just do things. You can just do things.
Let's just do things. Little girl, lead us in that beautiful pledge. That reason we're here. We know freedom
is not free.
Isn't free.
Freedom has to be fought for. And let's read the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job, little lady.
Thank you, David.
And justice for all is on the menu because MK Ultra is showing the ethics that were. I can't even say that word. I can't say MK Ultra and the word ethics. They are the opposite of each other by definition. So you don't even need to say it wasn't ethical. Okay, you could just say MK Ultra, and you simultaneously, bam, the word ethics were not involved with any of these people.
Nope.
Okay, that word doesn't even exist in their vocabulary when you see some of these projects and what they did to people. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some of these experiments they did on prisoners.
Yeah.
So what? Those were bad guys, did bad things?
Yeah.
We should experiment on them so we can learn some stuff in advanced science for good people.
Yes, but guess what? He also did it on soldiers. What? Soldiers that are fighting for freedom for us.
They did, didn't they?
And
they did it on innocent people.
Innocent people, like civilians.
They drugged a man with LSD without his knowing, Frank, and he died 3 days later. That's just one of the things that they did.
1 of a million. Possibly a million.
Guys, we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to get into it. We thank you for tuning in. Little girl's been doing her homework. She's been reading, so she's going to bring you some information. We're also going to dump in, and we're going to hit some category of 1 because branding is important. But what's important here is that this book, category of 1, guess where they got a bunch of this information from?
From their companions.
Project MK Ultra in the 49. Okay, before MK Ultra was officially, titled the MK Ultra Project, you already had Project Bluebird. And you had Project Artichoke. Okay? Say those again, little girl.
Project Bluebird and Artichoke.
Okay, so there were already projects underway before Alan Dulles scheduled the 149 projects for MK Ultra. That's what you gotta know right off the bat is that the projects were already underway.
Yep.
And Alan Dulles just spearheaded and aligned and set up and made sure that the right people were connected. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today is when you say, what people were connected, Sean? There was 5 people in that department. You have not read about MK Ultra if you thought there were 5 people in there, right? No, silly head.
No.
Guys, the top academic people, the top psychiatrists of the time, okay? The people that were getting recognition, the people that were put up as scientists, the people that were running the universities, Harvard University and Stanford, both, and there were more. There were lots more universities. Probably almost every elite university, just so you know.
Yeah.
They were running these experiments with MK Ultra in the 50s, 60s, and all the way through on students, on prisoners, on volunteers. Okay. There were some situations in which people were like, yo, bro, I need a couple of dollars. I'll take your experimental thing in class and give me some credit for it. And those people willingly allowed themselves to go through behavioral modifications and test stuff out, right?
Right.
Now, we can never argue against that, right?
Right.
If science moves forward because somebody makes that sacrifice and willingly jumps in on the grenade, that we honor that, right?
Yeah.
That's open transparency, right?
They chose to do that.
That's right.
And
we can all see the outcome, right? That should be cool. That's one way it could have gone down.
Yes, it could have.
But that's not how most of this went down. Most of this did not go down with a couple of volunteers at a university, okay?
Nope.
But that did happen, so there was a little bit of that, just so that you know. Okay, but before we get there, Addy, I think you got some other stuff to say?
Yes. How does the CIA like its coffee?
How does the CIA like its coffee? I don't know.
Declassified with a little bit of LSD on the side.
Probably should be making for the CIA. We love the CIA. The CIA is amazing, but there have been some bad actors and some bad things that have happened through that. So we want to get into that because one of the things they talked about with MK Ultra is when the program first started, Alan Dulles was pretty clear about, we're trying to do this so we can interrogate foreigners, so we can interrogate terrorists, so we can interrogate foreign enemies that are infiltrating. And we do know from the Venona cables that the Soviets were in fact infiltrating the U.S., right?
Yes.
Did the Soviets have high-ranking people in authoritative positions here in America?
Yes.
Guys, this was not like forever ago.
No.
This was in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and today to now, we're still finding Chinese and everybody everywhere. They've been trying to infiltrate, okay? And in the 50s, they had already done so, and they were in high positions. So we're still not even fully aware how many people involved in MK Ultra were also already operating for foreign entities, right?
Foreign entities.
They were helping other pieces. And we know this now because some of the, thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, some of these pieces that have rolled out show us that they were doing some tests on prisoners of war in Korea and over in Japan. We didn't report on that the last time that we did the show, did we? No, we learned more about that today through the CIA's own files that they have, again, online for you to read. Yep. So we're going to get a little bit in that. Addy, you got another joke? That one was pretty good.
Yep.
That one was pretty good.
The first one. Why do MK Ultra... Why does MK Ultra...
Which one are you reading?
This one.
Why don't MK Ultra survivors ever play hide and seek?
Why?
Because good luck hiding when the government already knows where your mind is. Oh,
my goodness.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Grok helped us come up with some jokes today. We obviously
job,
try to
Grok.
make them CIA friendly. So good job, Grok. Thank you for helping us out today.
job.
Awesome job, Grok.
Good job, Rock.
Good job, Grok.
And here's the trick from the CIA when news presents it to you. What do you say? So you can dig in more? All you gotta do is say, maybe.
Okay, Addy, you want to start us at the top, or you want to go off your who, what, where, when? Where you at?
Let's go with off who, what, where, and why, and how.
Okay, you start us off. I got some pictures ready.
Yep. So what are journalist questions? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. And as we already talked about, the director of MK Ultra, Alan Dulles.
Okay, so the man comes over, takes over, and boom, sets up MK Ultra.
Now, here's the worst part. What? What were they trying to do? Weakening? Individuals. They're weakening people using...
Hey, Eddie.
Yeah?
Stop reading and just tell us what MK Ultra is, please.
Okay, so MK Ultra, guess what they were doing? They were doing mind control on the people.
Right. They were manipulating their behavior
Yep.
under mind control, right?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so Daddy will take back over. All right, Alan Dulles, CIA director, approved MK Ultra on April 13th, 1953.
Yep.
Sidney Gottlieb, bada bing, bada boom over here. Sidney Gottlieb, the CIA chemist poisoner-in-chief, as he's known, poisoner-in-chief, the operational boss, as he's referred to.
Yep.
He bought massive LSD supplies from Sandoz Labs in Switzerland and greenlit the wildest experiments you've never even read about. And he ordered most of the files destroyed in 1973. Okay, so they ran more tests than you could ever imagine. They learned more than you've ever been told. And they burned those files so that you don't have that information and you don't know what they know.
Yep.
Okay? Mm-hmm. This happened by 1973. So we know that the church committee came out, and we'll get there, about exposing some of this through the Rockefeller Center. But these guys learned a lot. And what did they learn about, Addy? What did they learn?
They learned about how to manipulate people.
They learned that they could put some drugs in your body, and then through their different techniques, from electroshock therapy to radio waves, sending you things to your mind. Addy, what are some of the things that they could do? What did he learn?
They could make people do something that they would not regularly do. They could make people hurt their family, what they wouldn't actually do.
Yep.
They were attacking the most vulnerable, because why? They're the most vulnerable and the most easiest.
Could they make people anxious?
They could make people
Could they make people feel fear?
Make people mad?
Right. They could turn the aggression up. And how are they doing that, right?
Right.
They did it through what? What are some of the ways that we learned about that you read this morning?
They did it by drugging them. Yep. They did it by manipulation them.
How? Yeah, we got that part. How? What techniques did they use? That's what you were reading about this morning.
I can't remember right now.
All right, Donner, the other doctor that we have, Chris. This here is Harris. This bro gets missed a lot. They don't like to talk about this guy in some of the pieces, but did I close his window? That's the window I accidentally closed.
Oops.
But Mr. Harris here, okay, ran several projects where these are what the individuals look like. Okay? Imagine waking up and you're stuck in this scenario and you're not even going to wake up to it because you're going to forget everything that happened. But you're going to be stuck with emotional baggage and damage, which means you'll be triggered. Okay?
Okay.
Does this sound familiar, guys? In the 50s and 60s, they figured out ways with a little bit of drugging to cause emotional connection to things that the individual's own principles were against. Okay?
Okay.
So they would take individuals and then they would change their entire behavior by brainwashing them through electroshock therapy and some other ways. But Addy was going to talk a little about that, and we'll get back to it in a second.
Yep.
This is just one of the programs that this man ran, and he's just one of many bosses that were inside the program. So we want to make sure that everybody gets their face shown here on the MK Ultra Project list, because these men were running around in public in charge of the universities, in charge of their positions, looked up to by all their peers as lead scientists that are doing God's work. And behind the scenes, they were illegally experimenting on American citizens, torturing them, drugging them, killing them, and running all sorts of subprojects that you just couldn't even get. This man here ran the subproject in San Francisco that was taking women and making the women drug men while they were on dates with them so that they could run experiments, behaviorals, while these people passed out. It's ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
Now, again, if you ask these men where it came from, George White, Operation Midnight. Oh, sorry, that was George White, the first one. George White over here. If you understood where Dr. Donald Edwin Cameron, the psychiatrist, that led the most notorious sub-project, extreme de-patterning and psychic driving. This man was in charge of psychiatric care in the U.S. These people looked up to him as like the number one smartest dude. Well, he had a cheat. He was illegally experimenting on thousands and thousands and thousands of American citizens and prisoners of war across the globe, and getting information that the regular public didn't have. Okay. This is what's mind-blowing. Okay. They took this information and they did something with it. Right? They did something with this information.
They did something.
What did they do with this information? Well,
what did they do?
We're just now still declassifying documents, and what you've just learned this week is that those documents that were getting declassified and some of them were being shown, the CIA, bad actors inside the CIA, showed back up at the White House and took multiple boxes that were not supposed to be given. Okay? So not only did they destroy most of the files and never are ever going to show them to you or even tell you what was in there, the files that we did get are also still being taken from us and hidden from us. Right? So just by observation, what does that mean? What does that mean? Is that suspicious?
Yes.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
That is awfully, very MK Ultra suspicious.
Guys, it's past suspicion. There is no doubt. We know that they did it. We know that they allege, well, we're going to start doing it because we got to interrogate terrorists and save the world. And then we find out immediately that just even after 1 year of the program being underway, that they were already using it so they could manipulate the American public. Okay? And we know from other projects that the FBI was manipulating the news agencies, right?
Right.
So in MK Ultra, we're going to get into some of the things that they learned here. They purposely ran black sites overseas in West Germany, Japan, and the Philippines for testing on captured POWs. The recent 2026 declassification confirmed the Korean War POW experiment. So again, we started our show and we did a lot of this homework going into the year, so we used information from 2025. We're doing another show today because just as recently as now, last week, we can confirm that during the Korean War that POW experiments were ran. Now, you don't get to see the footage. You don't get to know what they learned again, but you do know that they learned information. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, the time here again, so you can see abundantly clear how this rolled out. Addy, can you read this for us? Just read the times for us.
1950, 1951.
Bluebird and Artichoke. This is the early drug test. So you had Canadians helping, and you had everybody that was in charge of the pharmaceutical world, multiple pharmaceutical companies, guys, like all the big ones. They each were addressing this because it was good business for them. They wanted to figure out what could they sprinkle, what could they treat somebody with, and then how easy it would be to manipulate and change them. Guys, they were literally sending radio waves to these people. They were sending messages to their mind. These individuals thought that they were schizophrenic. In fact, the oddest observation from all of this is that if you look at clinical pieces of what schizophrenia people believe, they almost identically follow the test subjects from MK Ultra. In that, they get paranoid, they can hear voices in their head, and they can literally say that the voices are being almost sent to them like a signal, repeating the message. Now, that sounded crazy for your entire life growing up. You thought, man, that guy is crazy. Can we get that guy some help? And now we know for a fact, F-A-C-T, fact. Did you say E? Fact. It's a fact that MK Ultra was all about that. That's what they were doing. That's what they learned to do in the 50s. It's 2026, guys. Technology's gotten worse or better? Better by far. Yep. In the 50s, MK Ultra, they were already able to send frequencies and send messages, okay, to the individuals that they were drugging, that they were making weak. They have multiple pieces here where they make somebody sleepy, and when you're at your sleepiest, are you ready for this? When you're at your sleepiest, they even created a drug that would help make you sleepy but not fall asleep. When you're at your sleepiest, you're actually at your most vulnerable to be brainwashed. Did you know that? Yeah, you did because you've read it. The MK Ultra, guys, the pharmaceutical agencies created a drug that would be doped. Now, again, this started with them saying it's for interrogating the bad people, okay? And so that's what it was allegedly going to be used for. And so they drugged these individuals with a special, what you would almost refer to, and you've heard through trickle down, a truth serum, okay? Now, it's not so much a truth serum as it is puts you in a position where you're most vulnerable. And then at that point in time, they don't even seek the truth out of you. I mean, they could for interrogating purposes. They use it, the MK Ultra scientist, Sidney Gottlieb, okay? They were using it specifically because they knew that you could be most brainwashed as you were falling asleep. That means most people should probably watch what they listen to when they're falling asleep. Yeah. Probably shouldn't leave the radios on. Probably shouldn't do a bunch of that stuff just to stay healthy, right? Yeah. But what MK Ultra taught was that when specifically targeting weak individuals that were drugged, you could manipulate their behavior. Easily. Now, could some people be resistant? Yes. Yeah, that's one thing that they were learning. Yep. The weaker you are and the more vulnerable you are, the easier it is to brainwash you. Right? Yeah. This is why when we look across the U.S. today, do we see a lot of people on drugs? Yes. Do we see a lot of children on drugs? Yes. Does that benefit the people who believe the same way MK Ultra? Does that benefit them to have a population on these drugs? Yes. Yes, it's right part of the game plan. Yep. So you see drugs rolled out. You can't even meet some of these women under the age of 30 that aren't on some form of drugs. Even Kamala Harris's own daughter is on X this week and breaking social media because she's saying these SSRIs are having problems. They're saying nobody looked at long-term tests, and now they know. What do you know? Guess what they learned? What? The same thing we already learned from MK Ultra. That those drugs that they're given to the women for birth control and to help them with those pieces are, in fact, making them very easy to manipulate, drive emotional distress, which drives more depression because of the catalyst that it's driving to keep separation, all right? Rather than being able to grab onto what's real, they grab onto what the TV is brainwashing them to do, what their bubble tells them to do. And oh boy, are we all in different bubbles. If you're watching this TV show, you're already in your own bubble. Yeah. A very smart, high IQ bubble. Good job. Yeah. But there are thousands of people not watching the show. There may be millions watching the show, but there's thousands still not. And those thousands of people not watching the show are in bubbles. When we started this show, liberals were in such bubbles with our quote friends, right? Now, these people don't talk to us now because 8-year-old Addy, did you beat him in every one of their conversations? Yep. From Zandra all the way over to Billy, not the 3 Billies we love that's watching this, our Billy out in Cali, right? Divorced dad, running the liberal shows. All he watches is liberal shows every night, and the dude loses his mind. But when we had one conversation with him, he tried to pretend he was independent and said, oh man, I'm so upset about these things. And we showed him evidence as who he should be upset about. We even showed him the Colbert Show that this guy like is in love with and literally posts on his Facebook every day. Yep. We said, bro, here's some evidence you should look at. What do you think? It upset him to upset his circle, his bubble. Isn't that what MK Ultra said would happen?
Yeah.
And what they learned from MK Ultra was how to make individuals be so stuck in believing false narratives that when the truth is presented, they would get angry.
Yes.
Now,
they specifically did that.
If Scott Adams was here today, he would tell you what high IQ people do. Addy, I know you know it. What do high IQ people do?
Whenever news is presented to them, all they do is say, maybe, and go look at there for themselves.
And with new information, what do high IQ people do?
They absorb that knowledge. They learn, change, and grow.
And what do low IQ people do with information they don't want to hear?
They shoot, they deflect it. I don't want it. They shoo it back.
Or they reach into their diaper.
Dodge.
Nice.
Thanks, Eddie.
And they duck, guys. That's evident, okay? We have lots of friends that have high IQ. We have lots of friends who have, we'd say, average IQ. You would think that if you're smarter, it's harder. If you're smarter, it's harder to trick you.
Yeah.
But that, in fact, is also false. Because where people trust and where you give your, we don't want to say faith here, but where you give your blind trust to,
there we go,
is your blind spot.
Yep. Blind.
I mean, duh, right?
Duh.
Whatever your IQ is, wherever you have blind faith in that direction, that's clearly your blind spot,
yep.
Right? So what that does is it doesn't allow you to have conversation on the next level. And that's how you can tell where a person is. And we could give a direct example when it comes to abortion rights, okay? When it comes to abortion rights, if you try to have a conversation, right, regardless of how you feel about abortion, if you try to have a conversation about the illegal activities taking place in Planned Parenthood, about the illegal harvesting of body parts and being sold on the black market that every human on earth is against, you would get the hate. And you can see that from a journalist who just now is getting the case dropped against him for exposing what was happening in California with Planned Parenthood selling and illegally harvesting baby parts, okay? That story's atrocious, and I don't even want to talk about it.
Me neither.
But how much more evidence do you need to see that when a journalist brings up the evil happening inside of a facility, he's not greeted with open arms from all sides trying to help him? Thank you for saving the truth, right? He's instead, particularly from specific sides, targeted, almost put in jail, was arrested for bringing the truth.
Arrested?
What world do we live in where journalism is punished?
This world right here.
Well, that's right. And we are understanding more than ever,
freedom
isn't
not free.
It takes you asking questions. It takes me asking questions. It takes us teaching my daughter
to ask questions. It takes my little brother to ask the questions.
Oh man, he asks a lot of questions, doesn't he?
Yep.
Right? Guys, this started in the 50s. And it rolled through, okay? So we want to make sure that with some of those things that you're seeing happening here across the globe, what we saw happen in 2016, okay? What we saw happen in 2020. Let's break that down again for everybody.
Yep.
We had so many friends coming from Austin, Texas. We got thousands of liberals on the left, thousands of conservatives on the right. We were friends with everybody across the globe, okay? Yep. Traveled everywhere, been everywhere. But I kid you not, the amount of liberals who lose their mind and scream exactly like what MK Ultra Project wanted these people to become. Are they the most vulnerable?
Yes.
Are these women on drugs?
Yes.
Are they absorbing nothing but CNN and lies, which we know from Project COINTELPRO is made for mass manipulation? Yes. Is that what they absorb?
Yes.
Do they watch those late night TV shows full of hate?
Yes.
Do they even hear the hate that comes out of their mouth? No.
No.
They put on their shirt, kindness, we're the party of love. And then they scream, I hate Trump. I hate this guy. I hate this. They don't even see it. How can you be alive in 2026 and not see who the party of hate is? Right? Everybody does. And that's what's awesome is that you're seeing that across the globe. We've traveled. We've been everywhere. It does not matter what the TV tells you. You can go into Southside Bronx. I wouldn't recommend it right now because they're shooting babies in the Bronx, as you saw yesterday with the baby getting shot in the head. But anywhere you go, most of those people in that area do not want to vote Democrat. They don't even want to associate with the Democrat Party. And we're not even trashing you if you're a Democrat. What we're saying is that most of the people that we've met believe the same thing. They want secure streets. They want the criminals locked up in jail. And none of them can understand how or why any of this is happening. And what we've seen develop all across the U.S. is the understanding that there's this 50-50, like, yep, it's just half and half. And that is not the case, guys. Nope. We're letting you know that the manipulation from MK Ultra into their pry on the most vulnerable. So the stronger your family is, the more you're resistant to these issues, right? Right. But those that don't have the family, that don't have what you have, and don't have those pieces, are they vulnerable? Yes. And can they fall to those pieces that MK Ultra has learned from that data? Yes. Absolutely. Because who's training them to be resilient? No one. Nobody. No one. So when they sit down and they slop this up, what happens to their body and their soul?
They absorb that, the hate, the evilness.
That's right. And it's easy to see. So on one level, it's sad for those that are at our peer level, right? But then on the other level, for the children, are we seeing more Bibles purchased than ever before? No. Yes. Last year, we set a new record. We reported on that show earlier. We saw more Bibles purchased ever before in history last year. We saw online, we see churches being looked up more than OnlyFans, more than ever in the last 2 years.
More than ever.
We see children seeing what we see, right? Right. We've got extra eyes on today, right? Yep. So we can see more. Is that right?
Yeah, and I got your 6.
Let's make me some fresh coffee because the show's just getting started, guys.
Just getting started.
All right, so we're going to go through the time frame here. 1953, MK Ultra officially launches. Frank Olson is secretly dosed with LSD and dies days later. So officially launch the program and officially kill somebody right off the bat that you know about. That's not even anybody that they don't tell you they experimented on. Yep. From 53 to 1964, guys, 11 years, peak experimentation. So this is when balls were rolling full out. They weren't scared about anything. They were testing on everybody, probably even your mama and your grandmama. All right? Think about that, guys. Your mama and your grandmama got experimented on. Now, by the 1957 to 64, Cameron's Montreal Nightmare Subproject 68. So a lot of projects we talked about, 149 officially. Yep. Project 68, Subproject 68 under Cameron's control, worldly now. We showed the picture of Cameron a second ago. Yep. Then in July 1972, Gottlieb halts the experiments. He says, all right, we got 20 plus years of data. We're good here, guys. Let's put it to the test now. Okay. 1973, Richard Helms orders the destruction of almost all of the MK Ultra files.
You said almost, not all.
That's right, guys. We have so much information and so much stuff in the files, it's already atrocious, and yet we don't even have 1/100th of all the stuff that they had. Can you get that? Yeah. We don't even have 1/100th. Nope. And yet we still have so many files, it's difficult to get through them all.
Still have so many.
1975, exposed by the Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission after Seymour Hersh's New York Times reporting. Yep. 1977, 20,000 surviving pages found. Thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, which we told you to just go straight to search CIA, Freedom of Information Act, that cam right there, bam, and you can just look all this stuff up. Yep. You can just look it up. Let me make sure I read the site to you. No, it's CIA.gov. Okay, so you just go to CIA.gov, and you can see all these files, guys. Yep. CIA.gov, that's it. You can just go there and look at all this stuff for fun. Yep. The experiments and major subprojects, the horrific details. Now, we use Grok today. Grok's a big help, right? Yep. We brought Grok to kind of, do stuff. We got to prompt Grok a couple times, but when he gets it on, Grok's doing a great job. The experiments and major sub-projects, here are some of the horrific details. Now, most records were destroyed, but survivors in 1970s investigate paint the picture. LSD and drugs on unwitting subjects. Thousands, guys, thousands and thousands of people were dosed without consent. Yep. prisoners, mental patients, prostitutes, their clients, even CIA employees and soldiers. Imagine getting a job at the CIA and the first thing they do to you is throw experiments and drug you up.
I would not like that.
It sounds like you're joining a frat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're joining a frat or sorority, I think that's what they do.
Yeah.
But if you join the CIA, apparently that was the initiation too. Hey, welcome to the CIA. Enjoy this. We need to see what you're willing to do here.
Yeah.
Guys, but it's not that funny because they did really bad stuff. They made men cheat on their wives. They made women cheat on their husbands. They made people hurt their children. They did such atrocious things that we can't even continue to ramble. We don't want, a meteor to fall in the house. But the CIA guys, bad actors in the CIA, did unspeakable things, which is why they destroyed a lot of these files. But the ones that we do have from the 20,000 pages are still atrocious. Operation Midnight Climax, which we've already talked about, was the San Francisco and New York City. Those of you who thought you were on the East Coast, you didn't get experimented on just as much as San Fran.
Yep.
They would use, now here's the thing, often they would use heroin addicts and they would lure in men. Agents would then dose them with LSD through drinks while watching behind one-way mirrors and filming. Guys, this is an official CIA document that tells you that just one of the projects was to give these people LSDs, shove them into a room where they had a one-way mirror, and then spy on them. This is just straight out of the movies. This is straight out like the craziest person you ever heard was like, the CIA is watching me. Yes, they were. he wasn't making it up.
No.
The goal was to study normal people breaking under drugs. Okay, so they wanted to take somebody that was in good standing. They wanted to take somebody that was walking, and they wanted to break them and see how bad they can make them do stuff, what they could get them into. And again, they deleted deleted a bunch of the files that show they could make them do very, very harmful things to people they love. Now, Project 68. This comes from Montreal, Canada. Dr. Cameron's psychic driving. Heard this?
Nope.
Psychic driving, guys. This stuff is just, psychic driving. Are you ready?
Ready.
Psychic driving, under Dr. Cameron's patients, most women with anxiety or postpartum depression. They were drugged into comas for weeks, given massive electroshock, 30 to 40 times normal voltage. 30 to 40 times normal voltage while drugged up. And forcing to listen to looped audio messages. Guys, you've only seen this in the movies and you thought it was fake. You thought it was fraud. You thought it was a conspiracy. Just in the 20,000 pages we have, we know this is a fact. You're not even being shown the millions of other pages that they had.
Nope. Not even a million.
This is called psychic driving. They would take postpartum women or women that were in depression. They would electroshock them 30 to 40 times and then make them listen to looped audio messages for hours or days on end so they could reprogram them. Many suffered permanent amnesia, lost their speech, or regressed all the way to infantile states, meaning that they literally made these grown adults become babies. Low IQ, can't function, their own brain shut down to become a baby because it was the only safe place for them. Canada in their free healthcare later gave the people some money after they did this.
Later?
Guys, this is what Canada did to their people, to their own women. The free healthcare state who puts down people and electrocutes them or kills them or euthanizes them if they don't want to, pay their taxes. Subproject 68 in Canada, way before you were even paying attention, was already doing this to women. What are we up against?
An army.
Is that messed up?
Very messed up.
Guys, how are we reading this? Guys, did you even know that this was real? This is real. 100% real. And they've led us to believe that these were all conspiracies until now. Now in 2026 in the Freedom of Information Act, we know all of this is real. Other subprojects included hypnosis and drugs. So they could drug them, hypnotize you, and then make you do unspeakable things. I can't even talk about them with Addy in the room, but it involves animals. It involves all sorts of messed up stuff. Subject Project 54, never fully executed bird disease studies for chemical warfare delivery and more. One subproject tested drugs on cancer patients and criminals. Now, the Frank Olson case was an Army biochemist secretly given. So this dude's serving his military, living God's earth. He's over here protecting America. And you know what they do?
What?
They secretly give him LSD at a CIA retreat. So they say, hey, bro, you want to join the CIA? And he's like, yeah, it sounds awesome. And then they floor him with LSD. He then flies off a 13th floor New York City hotel window to his death. The family was told it was suicide. They killed a man who was serving the military, Frank, and then told his family that he killed himself. Later, thanks to the settlement, they gave a presidential apology.
For killing a man, you just gave apology?
Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry we killed your dad in a great service in the military. We had to run this experiment. We had to run this illegal experiment.
On a soldier?
Was there any justice for anybody, Addy?
No, there was not.
Nope.
When we say justice for all of our pledge, we mean it. And that is not justice for all.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now is the cover-up. Okay, these men did not want this to be mainstream media. And that's why the boxes that were coming to light that you were about to see in the upcoming weeks were also stolen again and taken back because some of these people are still in power and have power. The cover-up and exposure. 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms and Gottlieb ordered the destruction of MK Ultra to avoid public embarrassment. That's all they're worried about, embarrassment, right? They're not worried about being held accountable. No. They're not worried about lynchings. They're not worried about being hung for treason. They're not worried about that. No. They're worried about embarrassment. Well, I got a lot more than embarrassment coming for you guys. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms and Gottlieb, to avoid public embarrassment, a few boxes survived in financial records, warehouses, and were found in 1977. The 1975 Church Committee hearings exposed the public for the first time. President Ford banned non-consensual drug testing in 1976, after they already closed the program after they got all this information. Yeah. Victims won limited settlements, with the Canadian patients receiving $100,000 for being lobotomized and murdered. Like, yay, $100,000. In the 1980s, Olson's family got $750,000. So he got paid, at least a little bit more for them killing his dad and husband. But there were absolutely no major prosecutions whatsoever. Nope. Now, why it still matters in 2026, guys. Here's what's important to know. MK Ultra remains the poster child for government overreach and unethical human experimentation. We know that people will do it, are trying to do it, and will do it again and have done it again. It fueled conspiracy theories, right? Even right here. How is it fueling conspiracy theories when it's a fact? You mean that journalism was reporting the truth and it was labeled a conspiracy, Grok? It inspired books, movies, eroded public trust, and now, after the Luna hearings show the fight for full transparency continues, especially now that we have missing boxes. The CIA released thousands of pages into the reading room, which is where we're at reading these documents, over the years, but gaps still remain because of the 1973 destruction. The program officially ended, but the demand for every last document is still very much alive because, like we said, guys, we're still learning. There you have it. Full documented story of your Family Fun Day Friday deep dive. Now, we could go deeper with Grok, and we appreciate what he gave us there. Yep. But, guys, this is absolutely scary stuff to learn right now that the CIA did more than you could ever imagine. More than we could report on the show, no matter how many more times I rant and rave that the CIA put women through shock therapy that digressed them all the way back to infant stage because they shattered their mind, and then paid out a couple $100,000. Here's $100,000. Thanks for letting us ruin your life. Here you go. Here's $100,000.
Here's $100,000.
That's Canada.
That's
now,
Canada.
I don't see anybody else get paid, in America. But these people were being tested on. They learned a lot, and they did unspeakable things. We're bringing that to your knowledge for one reason, guys.
One reason.
It's 2026, and where are we seeing? We're not able to talk about it, right?
Right.
But when you talk about individuals that believe they're supposed to be in a different body, right?
Right.
And they start taking drugs, and the drugs that they're taking causes psychotic breakdowns, harm to be created to those and others. And then you see all the people that have been shooting up churches, shooting up the schools, and you see that they think that they're in the wrong body and they're being put on these drugs. And you take what we know from MK Ultra. These things aren't accidents. This isn't happening organically. No. This is information that the top psychiatrists, the top chemists, the top pharmaceutical companies, the top elite universities, all of which were involved, already know. They already have the answer. They did not need to give a human these drugs and then wonder what was going to happen. They already knew, they have known, and we're asking why they've been allowed and are allowed to give them to humans here in the US or Canada, even after they've been busted doing worse.
Yep.
How is that still possible with knowing that the project is allegedly over? In fact, they're only doing a bigger project. Do they now have access to see all of America under drugs?
Yes.
Yes. Is there surveillance everywhere?
Yes.
Does everybody have their phone on them, always recording and listening?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Every person does. Mm-hmm. And are they able to take that data?
Yes.
What do you think they do with that data?
They use it for something.
Sure. One thing they use it for is they see that most of us are the same. We care about our family.
Yeah.
We love each other, and we want to protect each other. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, that's the case for most people.
Yeah.
But what happens when we see single bros or divorced bros or the mom who ruined her family, the most vulnerable that don't have that family around? What do we see with them?
We see MK Ultra grabbing them.
Do they become violent?
Yes.
Right. So what are we supposed to do?
Take MK Ultra out for good, everything out.
Transparency will help. Being able to see the truth will help, Addy. That's right. That's where churches and community are supposed to come in. Okay? Yeah. No matter how big your society is, no matter how big your group is, there are always going to be people who are left behind. Is that right?
Yes.
There are always going to be families that come from good neighborhoods and fall apart. And those people no longer have network and a group. And unfortunately, some men go to suicide and take themselves out and don't want to be here anymore. Women are now also doing that. We're now seeing suicide for the first time in young women and older women taking place because of those consequences and those accidents. Is that what we want? Is that a healthy America?
No.
Not in the least bit.
Not in the least bit possible.
We're not going to excuse anybody's actions for getting violent as you're seeing the rhetoric and continuing assassination attempts on our president from, guess what?
What?
People that are the most vulnerable. If you look at the Charlie Kirk assassination, you look at the individual who did it, literally is exactly the candidate right out of MK Ultra, was taking the drugs, was dating someone that thought they were in a different body, sharing drugs with them, and then only reading Reddit articles that were created with fake news, fake Reddit saying that somehow Charlie Kirk was on his way to take his rights away when the only thing Charlie Kirk was ever doing was talking about our freedom. And asking about what we have to do to keep it. Because freedom isn't
free.
Right. And so Charlie Kirk debated every imaginable question you could ever ask. Charlie Kirk would talk to you about it. Yes, he would let you have your explanation, your theory, your belief, your faith, and he would share his.
Yes.
That's what you want to see on a college campus. This is what you want to see in the world. It's what Plato says to do. But then just straight out of the MK Ultra book, science movies that we all thought were fake, you see an individual who's being drugged up, who's only listening to CNN News. You see all the articles and the stuff that this guy was reading, and he's stuck in such a bubble that's telling him that he has to do something to stop the evil that's spreading across the world. it's atrocious to realize that while you have a high IQ and I have a high IQ and we can apply reason, we think that low IQ people can do that, but they cannot.
No,
they cannot.
They cannot.
And that's one thing that they understood and knew under MK Ultra was that they understood a person's IQ also had a great deal to do with the brainwashing. Okay. Higher level IQs, a lot more resistance.
Yep.
And other problems. Okay.
Okay.
Low level IQ, much easier to manipulate and very quick to violence.
Very quick.
There, guys, you can show a sheet that it literally shows on the graph. The smarter that you get, the higher your IQ goes, the less dangerous you get. The lower your IQ goes, the more dangerous you become. That's why we say people are animalistic or barbarian. Now, we don't say other things because people will scream racism and stuff, so we won't use all the names that you could use for people that are operating at low IQ. But the point is that in the animal kingdom, there are animals with low IQ, right?
Yes.
And they don't probably survive too well. In the human world, there are humans with low IQ. And that stunts their growth, and it does keep them from achieving higher goals, right?
Yes.
Because we stand on the shoulder of giants, is that right?
Yes.
Smart men have done smart things. That's right.
Yes.
They've made some inventions. They've done some things.
Yeah.
Well, what did the smart men and the smart in biochemistry, in pharmaceutical, in psychiatric warfare, what did they learn in the 50s, 60s, and 70s through these experiments? Well, let's just read a couple of them for you real quick, guys. Again, there's 149 of these subprojects. You can go, this one is illuminatitrex.com, and you can read all 149 projects, word for word, factual statement, not an opinion anywhere in here, directly pulled up, okay? And we're going to read through a couple just real fast. Subproject 1, isolate and characterize the alkaloids of coiaceae. Project 2, miscellaneous research and testing services and behavioral modifications. Study the possible synergetic action of drugs, which may be appropriate for use in abolishing consciousness through animal experimentation. Number 2, survey the methods to enable the administration of drugs to patients without their knowledge. So this was Project MK Ultra 2 was how to get drugs to the people without them realizing we're drugging them, right? Definitely needs to be in your top 5. You got to get that down. Project 3, realistic field testing, R&D items of interest to technical services staff. This is the infamous safe house known as Operation Project Midnight Climax. Now, we talked about that one earlier today. You already know that's the one with the prostitutes involved and what they were drugging their clients. Yep. Now, MK Ultra Project Subject 4, which is also Project 15 and 19, to fund the contractor, a magician, are you listening? A magician to write a manual on the various aspects of the magician's art, which would be useful in covert operations. Now, for those of you who have paid attention, you know what this means. This is the project that led to Mulholland's manual, which was declassified and published in 2009 as the official CIA manual of trickery and deception. Okay? So subproject 4, 15, and 19, guys, this is what wrote the manual. It came out in 2009. Many people have read this and studied it. Lots of businessmen, lots of salesmen, lots of people try to help with their public speaking, with their manipulation, other foreign entities, which is one reason it took forever to get out. But guys, if you are trying to look at strengthening your manipulation skills, then let me tell you, this girl is pretty good. The book, the official CIA manual of trickery and deception, comes from the information they got here out of MK Ultra. So at least find some good in this project that they did, and they learned a lot of information, and go get the CIA manual of trickery and deception that is now free for you to read and look over. Yep. It's a pretty awesome manual, and it's filled with lots of tricks. I'm not going to share or discuss any of them here because I use a great deal of them.
If you're gonna be able, why?
Yeah, wifey's listening. I can't let. We don't want mom to know some of these tricks I got. Yeah, always keep your cards close.
We have 4 aces. Keep them close. When they make their move, haha, 4 aces.
Now, Subproject 6, develop reliable source of LSD with the United States and assist in search for additional natural hypnotic products. Look at that. All of a sudden, the government's like, well, we don't need to just do pharmacy. Let's look at some natural ways. All natural. Guys, that was Subproject 6, was to develop a reliable source of LSD within the United States. Okay, they had to develop it. Develop a reliable source of LSD within the United States and assist in the search for additional natural hypnotic products, as their previous supplier was Sandoz, based in Switzerland. So they wanted to move away from Switzerland and they wanted to get some other people's stuff. Guys, this stuff is crazy. This is what your government was doing with your taxes, with your money, with the secret organization. They were trying to develop LSD spots in the U.S. so that they could properly get their LSD fast and easy. Amazing. Project 7, LSD basic research. The studies included the use of LSD in therapy. As far as known, the subjects in the experimentation were witting. Funds are included for the payment of the project. So Project 7, those people allegedly took some LSD for fun. I'll party, bro. Let me party with you. I want to party with you. Those guys in Project 7, maybe they had a good time.
Maybe.
Project 9, study various depressant drugs which may more adequately control the manual psychotic patient and test drugs that may help alcoholics and schizophrenics. So now in this situation, they've labeled the drug like they're trying to help people. But what they're saying right there is that they use those individuals to see how much easier it was to change their behavior and modify them and train them to do what they want if they were already weakened to that state. Okay? So meaning, what could you do to a drunk? What could you make the drunk do? What could you do to a schizophrenia who's already schizophrenic? Could you give them, extra voices? All sorts of stuff, guys. And that was performed in Emory University and the University of Illinois. Study tested and evaluated the effect of LSD and alcohol when administered to individuals falling under various personality categories. So they didn't just test, guys. This is where we're really trying to make you understand. This is why the show's going longer today. They did not just test on some people. They wanted to test on a strong, independent individual like Addy. Yeah. They wanted to test on a weak individual, not like Addy, right? They wanted all gamuts. They wanted the strong person, the weak person. They wanted the alpha. They wanted the omega. They wanted an extrovert. They wanted an introvert. And so they just ran around finding all these different personalities to test over and over again on these different things so they could see who was more vulnerable, who was more resistant, which ways worked better on who, right? Does that sound like an algorithm being run?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, isn't that what the digital intelligence does now? When you look at your phone, there's an algorithm being run for your feed that customizes for you.
Yep.
Interesting, because MK Ultra, they were already doing that. They were trying to figure out how to customize the drug and customize the brainwashing for you, just for you. I don't worry about everybody else. I want to get for you. Subproject number 11, developing and stockpiling toxins. You listening? You listening?
Listening.
Developing and stockpiling toxins, identify and produce in sufficient quantity for experimentation the active ingredients in certain seeds and plants. Preparation of a supply of the toxic protein. Do I need to even talk to you about seed oils and when they were introduced into America? Because you may just want to go look at MK Ultra Subproject 11. Now, there's much more to that project. But allow me to tell you again that seed oils are bad for you. What was once used in machinery to keep machineries oiled was somehow, after MK Ultra Subproject 11 learned, given to the population of America. And how did that do for the body? Does that hurt the human body?
Yes, it does.
Wow. What do you know? So something the government already learned in Subproject 11 from the 50s then gets implemented across society, causing obesity and cancers through the roof all the way across. And we're just going to ignore that? Not this guy.
Not this little girl.
Do you get seed oils?
Nope.
No. I wonder why. Did we do project research?
Yes.
Did we know? Did we learn this stuff?
Yes.
Is this public information?
Yes, now it is.
And we're not harping on anybody out there. If you didn't have this information, I'm an award-winning journalist, so I do research. That's what I do. I have PhD friends that love talking trash because I don't have a PhD. Where's your PhD? Well, bro, I do more research than you on every subject known to man. There's not a subject that any one of my PhD buddies can even talk about that I can't do laps around them. Okay, you understand? You can't talk about dark energy and we go, oh yeah, we've sat in that. You sat on my chest while we sat with Neil deGrasse Tyson and listened to his rah, rah, rah about dark energy. Everything's so far spread out. We're all connected. Ugh. It was hilarious, right? Yeah. They go on and on about dark energy, these PhDs, and tell you that everything's separated far away and everything's like so far we can never get to it. And then they lean in, they go, but something's connecting all of us. We're not sure what it is.
But we're going to keep telling you we're all divided. So
yeah, dark energy.
Dark energy divided.
And then they tell you that there is God. So the higher up you go into these PhDs and these atheists, they end up telling you that there absolutely is creation without any doubt whatsoever. But they believe in a math God, not your lowly peasant God that the rest of you believe in. Guys, these are the individuals that sit at the top of academia. And you wonder why the top people, the top chemist in the country, the top biochemist in the country, the top person over psychological warfare who starts CBS, comes out of our own military. These individuals were running these projects. They were learning, they were adapting, and they took data. And the information they've learned has been applied to society. That's why we're doing the show today. We're trying to show you how they applied it. Seed oils, getting into America's food, getting into Americans' bodies, is not natural, is not healthy, and nowhere in this information does it show you that it should be. It tells you that it's a toxin, and they already knew that. Bad actors in our government were already fully aware. Before RFK Jr. got on scene, appointed by President Trump, we were still a seed oil nation. We were still a food dye nation, okay? If Donald Trump had not taken the office and put RFK Jr., a lifelong Democrat, in charge, we would still be a seed oil nation. Or I should just say, we would still be a MK Ultra Subproject 11 nation. Okay? But we're not now.
We're not.
Now, we've always had the ability to make choices. So you can choose to still be a seed oil person, or you can choose to take the new information that we're giving you from Subproject 11 that you already know the seed oils are bad for you. Now you can know that the government and bad actors always knew these seed oils were bad for you. Always. 100%. Always knew it was bad for you.
Always knew.
I need a sip after that.
Speaking of sip, why don't we leave the simultaneous sip?
What? We forgot to do our simultaneous sip?
Good thing I reminded you.
It's 10:20 wherever you are, space and time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for still watching. If you are still tuning in, you're going to learn a little bit more from MK Ultra because we're only on project number 11 right now. Addy, lead us in that beautiful simultaneous sip.
All you need is a cup or a mug or a glass.
Got it.
A tankard or chalice or stein. A canteen jug or a flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill with your favorite liquid. I usually like coffee. Hot cocoa works too, with crunchy peanut butter or soft peanut butter. Now let it go, Jack Boswick.
Jack's not watching this show today.
Why not?
This one's too long for him. He's got human events going.
But anything works. And let's do the simultaneous sip.
Thank you for joining us across space and time.
Thank you. The dopamine hit of the day.
The thing that makes everything better. And I'm trying to make it better over here. My coffee's not hot anymore because we've been doing too long on the show. And we've only just now got to Subproject 11 about toxic seed oils that you shouldn't put in your body.
Right. But they are. Bruh.
Now, I know the wife loves hearing this stuff because why? Did Daddy make that about who he was?
Yes.
Did I lose friends? Guys, I had best friends, and I still love these guys, okay? But I had best friends growing up that I tried to show this to, that I tried to teach to. When I came back from Austin, Texas, and I tried to get this information to close people, because you can't just tell random people, who cares? But your closest friends and family, all through North Texas, we tried to have these conversations about, and guess what? We were the crazy ones. These people are over here just slapping seed oils down, fat's gone, testosterone 0, going bald. They can't, their health is just going through the roof. They're going to the doctor asking for shots. And all I'm doing over here is saying, guys, stop putting the seed oils in your body. Drink water. Get spring water. Stop drinking tap water. And guess who was the crazy one?
You.
Daddy was.
The family.
Then I was. in 2015 through 2018, Daddy was the crazy one.
Now who's the crazy one?
Not me.
Not me.
Because now all of them understand. It took 9 years now. We're in 2026, and it took Donald Trump winning the election to put RFK Jr. in charge, a lifelong Democrat, to show people the truth. And guess what happened when people start seeing the truth?
What?
One of two things always happens when you show people the truth. You already know. When you show people the truth, because even if you tell them yourself, who cares? But when the government tells everybody finally, one of two things happens. What are they going to do?
One, they either high IQ people like you're watching the show, they absorb that knowledge and say, thank you so much for the knowledge, and they give knowledge back. They would have never given you if you didn't give the knowledge.
That's right. You should teach back and forth. Is that right?
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you. But the low IQ people that have been slapping all the up,
they hit that unfriend button. They're done. I don't want to talk to Sean.
I want to talk to you. You're
Let me eat my seed oil. Guys, we want you to be healthier. We want you to live longer. We want your children to be healthier. We want America to be healthier. Right?
Yes.
But we're not having a health show. We're just talking about MK Ultra right now. We're not even having a health. This isn't the health episode. This is the MK Ultra episode, and you're seeing why we're doing such a long show today. Because if any of our shows ever blow up, we want it to be this one, because this one has to teach you so many different things that the bad actors in the government have come at you since before you were born. Okay, before you were born, they learned information on how to manipulate you, how to trick you, how to get you on drugs, keep you vulnerable, and change your behavior. That's it. Those are all the facts. Those are just facts. Okay. Let's keep going with some of these projects. Project 14, Operation Black Payment to the Federal Bureau of Narcotics for the service of George White.
George White.
We talked about him. You saw the picture. Subject 15, which as you already know, 14, 15, and 19 were all the same ones through the covert operation, the result of the manual. That's the trickery deception book. Now, continuing subproject. So 16 is a continuing from number 3 with more realistic testing out in the field. Now, we don't have information because, again, we don't know who they did this at. We just know they did it out in the field.
That's all we know.
Technical Services Division. Guys, they spent over $400,000 purchasing LSD from Eli Lilly in Indianapolis, Indiana. Guys, this stuff is amazing. Okay, a bunch of these. Prepare. Okay, here you go. Subproject 20. Prepare a supply of the diminished derivative of hydrochloride for use in other approved projects. So you don't even know what other projects that got used for. Can you, guys, this stuff is insane. Just to see what they were doing. You don't even get to see what they did and who they did it on. You just get to see that the project did exist and they did do something, but those files got burned. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it weird? Like, let me just say that real quick. Isn't it really weird that they erased who they did it on, what information they got, but they kept, yes, we did it. It's like they want you to know that they did it. They just don't want you to learn what they learned from it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they're saying they did it. They're admitting how they drugged it up, that they paid for all these drugs. It was all on, they did all this, but then you just don't get to know what they learned. And that's why we're having this show today. We're focusing on the outcomes of America. We're now in 2026, and we ask you, can you have a proper conversation with an adult about anything? About politics, about the government, about taxes, about abortion, about money? We come from a nation of conversation. Our entire nation was built around a table. Some of it underground in secret tunnels, but all of it was built around sitting at the table having conversation. I myself have traveled the entire U.S., every little city, every rural part of America you'll never go to, I've been to multiple times. I've sat in Tribune, Kansas, for example. You've probably never been to Tribune, Kansas, unless for some reason you were trying to go over to Colorado Springs from Kansas. It's a little town right before you get to the border and go into Colorado. Now, again, you're never going to go there. But in the event that you pass through Tribune, you could realize that this small town of less than 900 at the time, I helped move 20 people to this town, multiple families to help out with the healthcare. But the school, the local school, was all about their children. They have marble floors in their tiniest shed of an elementary and high school. One school fits everybody. But inside, there was so much love poured in that it was one of the coolest looking mini schools I ever seen.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I went to Ford Middle School in Allen. We had lots of money. And one of our buildings was actually a shed outside. It was just literally a metal frame shed. That was worse than what they had in Tribune, rural Kansas, okay? But that's not the point. In Tribune, Kansas, and this happened everywhere. It doesn't matter. Pick Alaska. It doesn't matter. Every rural country and county that you go to across America, you will see at somewhere between 4:45 to 6:30 in the morning, you'll see Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, mostly Christian, there might be an atheist in there, gather at the local diner. And they'll sit down with their morning coffee, maybe breakfast. Most of them are just there for the coffee and for the companionship to talk and debate and argue. Okay? I've sat in on many of these conversations, and some of them are plenty heated. Some of them were prior to 2015 and 2016. None of them were violent. None of them caused issues. All of them were just men in the community sitting around in the morning discussing the news, arguing about what was better, who was best, and having fun debate. Is always a good time. I always knew that if I woke up early, and a lot of other people didn't do this. I think I was probably the only recruiter, which is why, probably the best there out of everybody. Calling it out right now. If one of you thinks you were better than me, say something. They weren't. You, could sit there and talk and engage in these conversations. You could have conversations with these individuals, and you could learn so much more about the town, the policies, the healthcare, what it was like to be there. So then when I'm talking to people that want to move there, I knew way more than the average person, by far. But for my own knowledge, because I'm curious, I'm a journalist, I got to learn about the U.S., the real people running it, the farmers. I sat in at a church that was being used as the town meeting, again, there in Kansas, where all the farmers and all the families had come in from outside of town into the church meeting. Because why? Well, a new Walmart had opened up in Gardenia, which is the biggest town in that part of Kansas, an hour away from people. And these individuals were driving all the way to the Walmart to get their goods. The local grocer, who was barely surviving, was there at the town meeting telling everybody, guys, I'm not going to be able to open my grocery store anymore because nobody's buying the milk that I took a loan out to get for you guys. And I'm barely making anything on it, like 50 cents. And none of you are buying it. You're going to Walmart. Well, it's just easier, blah, blah, blah. Hey, guys, you're not going to have a local grocery store anymore, and you're going to have to drive an hour to get that. And guess what? He closed down because everybody kept going to Walmart an hour up the road. Now, I found that out 6 months later, but while I was there, it was amazing seeing people in the community come up and talk about real problems together.
Yeah.
That's a community.
That's community right there.
And I'm telling you, prior to COVID, so COVID changed some stuff, but mom and pop diners all across the U.S. have been utilized by men in the community to come together and overcome the differences that the TV tries to tell us we all have. That the TV and MK Ultra projects push at the most vulnerable. And where do you see it? Okay, Daddy's traveled all across the U.S. I've traveled all across the world. And even if we were in Fiji, 20 hours away from us, or if we were in Dubai, or if we're in Costa Rica, or if we're in Ireland, in the UK, love you, Rich. I know Rich isn't watching this. We know the UK guys aren't allowed to watch the show.
Aw, sorry.
What do they all say? We all have the same feelings, right? We all want the good. We all want to be protected, and we want to be able to trust the government. But what did our forefathers and George Washington teach us?
What?
That the government is a necessary
evil.
Good job, little 8-year-old. Look at that. Now, if you were a communist, you're not allowed to say that, right? Because you want to pretend that the governments are all good all the time. We already know they're not.
No.
This whole project is about MK Ultra. But guess what, guys? This is not new. This didn't come to you brand new right now.
Nope.
Your forefathers who started this country told you verbatim, wrote it down, Benjamin Franklin, the greatest of all time, Thomas Jefferson, good guy. What did they say?
What?
The government is a necessary evil. The government's evil, okay?
Yeah.
You have to understand that if you give it too much power, it will abuse it. Is that a fact?
Yes.
Did MK Ultra show us how bad they'd abuse it?
Yes.
Guys, we've only made it through 15 of the 149 projects on today's show, and we've already showed you that the government is evil. This does not mean that everyone in the government is evil. No. That is not what this means. This doesn't mean that the CIA itself is evil. No.
Doesn't mean the FBI is evil. No.
Are there bad actors that have taken a hold of these positions and done bad things in them?
Yes.
Very much so.
Couldn't say it better myself, Dad Bear.
Good job, little lady. Now, we still have some projects to get through real quick before we can even begin to slow down. Project number 23. Synthesize new drugs and modify the old ones to determine their effectiveness in modifying behavior and the function of the central nervous system. Did you hear that? Let me say that again. Project 23 was to synthesize new drugs because the old ones weren't getting the job done, modify the old ones because they weren't good enough, and determine their effectiveness, right? See if the good ones work now. And modifying, this is what their objective was, modifying the behavior and function of the central nervous system. Guys, they were experimenting to see if they could make you shoot your left arm, pull a left trigger, kick a dog, all sorts of crazy stuff. And you're asking, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean they could do it? They were trying to see if they could put you on a drug and then send you a signal to make you move like a robot. Robot. They wanted to see if they could operate like a robot. And all they had to do was give you enough drugs and enough brainwashing, and they could control you by words. Now, you've seen this through hypnotism and through pieces. If you've ever watched a live hypnotist performance, you've seen them hypnotize people that go under, come up and perform an action, and then go back out. And then when they come to, they have no memory of what they've done, right? This is what they were doing. They were figuring out how to drug them, get them so that they were comatose, and then be able to control them like a robot. This was in the 50s and 60s, guys.
50s and 60s!
What do you think they can do now?
What?
This was Project 23. Go on to the CIA's website and look at MK Ultra Project Subject 23 and read all about it. Project 24. Fund meetings at sterile locations for brainstorming sessions by MK Ultra contractors. So this was just, their Subproject 24 was just a project to make sure that all the project managers were having good projects. Me. Now, Project 25, now we get into some cool pieces to determine the applicability of hypnosis techniques for agency operational usage. So this is what we just talked about. They already knew they could hypnotize people and they already could get stuff done. They were trying to figure out if they could train you, Addy, to hypnotize. Did it have to be the biochemist that was doing it, or could they train the trainer? Could they train a CIA agent to become a pro hypnotist and hypnotize other people, right? So this was about passing down the buck so that other field agents could hypnotize people in the field. Now, it sounds crazy, but it's like they were trying to teach them how to use the force. You do not see me. You will not see me. So they were trying to do all sorts of crazy stuff that sounds insane when you read about it, and a lot of this stuff worked. Subproject number 26 is also from number 9, human testing on volunteers of drugs which may aid in the treatment of schizophrenia. So in this project, we'll give them credit here, Subject 26 was used at the University of Illinois, and those were actually schizophrenic people, allegedly, that signed up for it. We don't know if they've messed with them beforehand, but they signed up for it at the University of Illinois to receive the behavior modification. So at least that project seems, again, like they were maybe trying to help people. Subject 27, LSD basic research. The study includes the use of LSD in therapy. And as far as known, subjects in this experiment were also witting. They were allegedly paid to help that.
Allegedly.
Now, some of this stuff involves animals. We're going to skip some of this crazy stuff, but Project 27 through 28 and 29, you got messing with drugs and people at the same time, and we're just not going to read about that on a family show. 29, to fund work on hypnosis, the scope was increased to acquiring extensive psychological profiles of all subjects in an effort to drop significant keys to hypnotic susceptible, which may be adaptable. Okay, so they were looking for susceptibility. For those, again, like we just said, Project 29 was the same thing. they had basically figured out some people were more vulnerable to being put under hypnosis than others.
Okay.
And they didn't know why. And so subproject number 29 was figuring out why some people are able to resist hypnotic trances and brainwashing storms that they did and others aren't. They wanted to identify why are some of our test subjects, easily being manipulated while others are stronger. Maybe they got a little Robinette blood in them.
Maybe a little tiger blood in that Robinette tiger.
Absolutely. Now, Project 30 was to add more money to the petty cash fund. They need a whole project for that. Nope. Project 32, study medicinally active plants which have ingredients of interest to the agents. So, Subject 32, they found new drugs in China that they wanted to test out, and they brought them over and did some stuff. Project 33, provide funds to some people. A couple further tests, some more money's moving around. They grow and test. Project 37, grow, test, and evaluate certain botanicals. So the CIA, okay, you thought this was make-believe, but the CIA actually had their own drug farms where they were hiring botanical gardens to grow all sorts of drugs that they could use for this. Isn't that insane?
Yes, it is.
So we talked about that we eventually had a war on drugs, but guess who was setting up all the drug factories around the U.S.?
Who?
These bad actors at MK Ultra. We didn't even have these drug sites until MK Ultra started setting them up, literally, and bankrolling them. It's insane. To investigate the psychological effects of drugs, Maritone, serpentine, and bulbocapinin. I may be saying that one wrong. Forgive me. Bulbocapnine upon human beings. I don't even know what that one is because we just got to subject Project 38, so I'm going to have to do some research. But apparently, there's a whole bunch of more drugs I didn't even know about in Project 38. Subproject 39, exploit the research potential presented by a group, you ready? 142 criminal sexual psychopaths confined at the Ionic State Hospital. The agency believed that the patients had the same kind of motivation for withholding certain information that is comparable to operational interrogation situations in the field. So now this project is at least aligned with what they said they were doing, okay?
Okay.
They said they were trying to figure out interrogation projects and how they could, interrogate a terrorist who's going to blow up a building and figure it out all, Jack Bauer 24 hours. So we're all like, yeah, it sounds cool, right? Yeah. This project was at least in line with that ideology. And let me tell you why. What they were doing with these 142 criminal sexual psychopaths, okay, were people who did unspeakable things. Not going to talk about it. But what they had done, they obviously wanted to keep secret. These aren't like serial killers who want to be busted, right? They're like, now that I'm busted, yeah, make me a big serial killer. That's not what this was. These were people that were like, I didn't do it. Nope, never done it, even while they're, clothed and dripping in the blood of the person they killed, right? These people lied through their teeth, right? They took 142 of them and put them through all sorts of different things, as you already know. We've been talking about all the other projects, to see if they could get these people, okay, to admit the atrocious things that they had done. Now, this is actually good training, okay? You're taking bad people and you're trying to get them to admit the truth that they did, right? So you can, put them in jail for even longer. But then also, those techniques would in fact help you with a terrorist or a spy or any stuff. So Project 39 looks at least in line with what they said they were trying to do, right?
Yes.
Okay, so good job on Project 39.
Good job.
Aligning with what allegedly which could be for the betterment of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One project. We give one Project 39
is
seemed like maybe it was up. Now that's the Ionic State Hospital for the criminally insane in Michigan. Big Pops, we know you're out there watching. That happened in your backyard.
Yep.
All right, MK Ultra Project Subject 40. LSD basic research again. They did more, gave more payment. They also did, in Project 41, they funded a synthesis of rare organic chemicals that were not commercially available. So that's a long read. Nobody cares about dimethylphenyldiamine, but lots of new drugs were created, guys. They created new drugs out of MK Ultra specifically built to alter your brain and make you a robot. MK Project 42, more field testing out in the trials. It's continuation of Project 16 right there. There it is. Project 42 was going so well that they continued more field testing. You just don't get to know where. Like, obviously San Francisco and New York, but they did it all over the U.S. Study to perform field and research dissociated states of hypnosis. So this is at the University of Oklahoma. Nana, Big Papa Goat. Subject 43 takes place at the University of Oklahoma from 55 to 56 under Sidney Gottlieb again. Now, Project 44, objective of the research was to develop screening and bioassay techniques for psychotomimetic, capable of producing a psychotic-like state, agents which do not involve the human testing, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Project 45 involves search and preliminary testing of materials which might alter the consciousness and have other psychological effects, such as blood pressure, cardiovascular, and body temperature. Guys, they were doing stuff to mess with you on every level imaginable. They wanted to figure out how could they jack your blood pressure up? How could they, almost cause a heart attack? They wanted to do this stuff. They were trying to figure out how they could do it without being directly involved. Shooting laser. Guys, there's all sorts of crazy stuff in here that you just can't even make up. From shooting lasers at people, to shooting sound waves at people, to using sounds, all sorts of different frequencies. Any type of vibration they could get, they could almost pin it to cause different things in your body if they knew what was already wrong with you, or if they gave you any of these drugs at any specific amounts. Project 47, study drugs affecting the central nervous system, looking towards an anti-interrogation drug. Also to screen and evaluate hallucinogenic materials of interest. Guys, so not only were they messing with your blood pressure, messing with your heart, messing with what you could hear, now they were able to attack your central nervous system and make you see things. They can make you see things, guys. This is in the 50s and 60s. I don't know if you've ever watched Futurama or any of these shows that talk about, that while you're sleeping, they're going to, the advertisements are going to send you commercials while you're sleeping, right? That's the joke that in advertising, they're going to use devices to send you commercials while you sleep, right? That's the joke. But the reality is that in 1950s and 60s, they were already able to to make people hallucinate and see what they wanted them to see. That was in the 1950s and 60s.
1950s, 60s.
It's 2026.
Why do you think they learned it now?
Guys, now Project 48 was a Chinese project which uses volunteer students in motivational research as an objective to determine the best way to recruit and motivate neutral agents. Number 2 is the psychological study of these defectors, the spies that came over. And then number 3 was the studied communist indoctrination techniques and stress psychology in general. What? That was at the Cornell University Medical School where all of this went down. Are you listening? Project 48, they took Chinese spies that defected from being a Chinese spy because they used some techniques. Then they used more techniques, and then they studied them, how they address these things. Now, Sun Tzu would be proud that we caught some Chinese spies, right? Yeah. And if we catch a spy, I guess we're allowed to study them and do stuff to them, right? They're the enemy, right? We could hang them for treason, or we could experiment them on them, apparently, in Subject Project 48.
Actually, I will not be as mad as I would have if it was a...
Yeah, when the spies came over to steal. All right, Research Project 49. Research into the natural hypnosis and possible operation uses, including the use of hypnosis and a learning aid as an interrogation and counter-interrogation. Guys, again, they are all about team hypnosis, and they just continue to strengthen it. As you see the projects go on, they learn, they stack, and they get better at these techniques. And they already approved earlier on, as we talked about, that the agents needed to be hypnosis or hypnotically trained themselves so that they could just, hypnotize people on the spot. This is crazy stuff.
Crazy.
Now, you can't see the the field work. You can't see, like, did they go to Japan? Did they go to China? Did they go to Russia? Did they go to Europe? Where did they go? Germany? Where did they go and use these techniques? But you can see that they were trained and that they were using them, right? So the CIA practiced here on Americans first, and then allegedly went and performed, on spies across the world. Isolate, characterize, and identify natural occurring compounds with psychogenic properties. Okay? Most of that was done with mushrooms. So when people talk about psychedelics and mushrooms now coming to light, and you're seeing Mike Tyson and other people microdose and do this, Colorado allows you, Cody Geist, if you're seeing this, you and I argued about this. Yep. Colorado allowed people to do mushrooms in public. Guys, this study was done in the 50s. They already knew. Go look it up. CIA.gov. Subproject 51. They tested psychedelic mushrooms to see what they could do to an individual, how they would react, and what would help with. We know that some people in depression, some people with trauma, PTSD, we do know that some forms of mushroom psychedelics do in fact help them. We've seen people feel better, get better. Those same people probably could have, gone to church and read the Bible, but individuals do get better through some of that treatment. This is Subproject 51. They already knew this, guys. They already knew Subproject 51 in 1955 through 1962. They already knew every in and out after 9 years of testing exactly what the mushrooms would do, can do to you, whether you're an alpha, omega, introvert, or extrovert. They already have all the data. They just hide it from you and from me. Yep. Project 52, providing consulting services for preparations of chemicals procured. So we think this is essentially them saying drug deals. That's what that's saying. They paid for their drug deals. Doesn't say who, where, at the universities were making these drugs or what, but some of these universities were just making the drugs for them. They gave them the ability to do it, and they did. Makes sense. Alcohol research, sleep and nausea. Project 57, as you can imagine, we already talked about. Perform research on sleep and insomnia with emphasis on narcosis-induced sleep. So again, they learned, Project 57 helped, but they'd already learned that when a person, a human, is falling asleep, going to sleep, you're at your absolute most vulnerable state of brainwashing. So they can keep you in that state, which is why they developed drugs that would keep you in a sleep-like state so they could pump you for information or brainwash you without you even being aware of it. That's crazy stuff.
Crazy.
MK Ultra Subproject
58.
Finance an expedition headed by Gordon Wasson from the purpose of studying more hallucinogenic species of mushrooms. Just like we said. Yep. Guess who was the sponsor of that one?
Guess who?
J.P. Morgan.
We talked about him before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 1956. This was sponsored by J.P. Morgan. MK Ultra Project 59. Pharmacological testing and evaluation of certain chemical compounds that might have properties of interest. So, more drugs. You don't get to know. More studies. We're at 61, and now we're project subject 61 of 149. Study the role of human brain in overall adaptive behavior, especially the relationship of changes in behavior due to stress, changes in behavior brought out about the loss of cerebral tissues. What? They were, oh my goodness. Guys.
Please tell me you're kidding right now about that.
Guys, they were studying how your brain shrink under some of these things, and they can easily manipulate it. This is crazy.
Bro.
That was the Medical Science Research Foundation Society for the Investigation of Human Ecology. That was where? At Cornell University. Project 62, another LSD project. Operation Black Vault. Wow. More physical chemical agents on the central nervous system.
More LSD too.
Man-like animals. The purpose of the project is to maintain a professional service of Robert Hyde to the technical services. So some of these are, some of these projects are them funding it, connecting to people, and you're able to see in these projects, guys, who's connected where. You're able to see that this university was hiring this university, that this university was paying these people. you see that all the money the government was giving these people for grants was to do these things. So of course they're going to zip their lineup. Of course they're going to do unethical things. Their entire livelihood and career is paid for by who? MK Ultra, the bad side of government, guys. This is insane. In November. Project 67, library searches, consultant assessments. It just goes through. Project 68, human behavior, repetition of verbal signals. Okay, so here we go. Project 68, study the effect upon human behavior and the repetition of verbal signals, right? Like our hand signs from Naruto. Were treated with LSD. Other similar agents to break down the patterns of behavior. The plan included intensive repetition of prearranged verbal signals. Patients were kept in sensory isolated, then continuously slept and continuous sleep for 7 to 10 days. Guys, what the F are they doing over here?
This is a kid show.
Whoops, I shouldn't talk like that. This stuff is just blowing my mind. Okay, we're at 10:53. We've had one of our longest shows of all time.
Yeah.
And we're not even through.
Not even through.
We're not even through. We gotta have to pick up tomorrow. We're at Project 69, bro.
69, bro.
If you've ever seen the movie with Keanu Reeves.
Surf Ninjas, that one?
No, not Surf Ninjas. That's another good movie. You don't remember it? Mm-hmm. Okay, you remember our quote, but you don't remember the movie? That's right. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And they go back in time, and as you know, when they meet themselves, they're confused. How can they tell if they really are themselves? So they think of a number that they would know since they're going back in time.
69. He
says, if you really are us, then tell us what number you're thinking. They look at each other. They look back. 69, bros! So the list of 149, we are taking a break at 69 right now. So you've been watching our show. We thank you very much. Multiple live streamers tuning in today. Again, thank you. But we are at 10:54 a.m. on our time. We've got things to do this morning. Yep. It is 5/15/2026, and we're not done with the show. The show is not done because your government, the CIA that runs America, has in fact had over 149 MK Ultra subprojects that we're only able to get to in this time up to 69. Now, we've broken down some of them for you. You can go to CIA. I'll read it to you one more time. You can go directly to CIA.gov. They have what is referred to and is called the reading room, in which all of these documents are posted online for you to read. Now, hopefully, we read them for you. It makes it a little bit easier. Yep. Some of them are boring to read. And then some of them, you can't even believe you're reading it. It is insane. This stuff happened in the 50s and 60s. And now you can see, thanks to Thomas Sowell, we see empirical evidence. You can see the outcome. You can see the evidence. And that's all we want to bring to your attention. It's all we want you to think about. When you look out and you see whoever it is you see out there in the world, especially in America, and you see them behaving exactly the way MK Ultra wanted them to, when you see them acting exactly the way MK Projects designed them to, when you see them perform the way these projects designed them to, you have to ask the question, who's in control? Who's allowing this to still happen? Can this administration stop it? We've exposed corruption, we've exposed fraud, and we're still doing it. There's so much of it, I don't know where you can look and not see it. But for the first time in this little girl's life, and for the first time in my life, we are finally understanding that freedom is not free. It has been under attack, and we have very little of it left if we don't do something about it now. Now is the time, and we're seeing people from the left, from the right, from the middle stand up for freedom. It doesn't matter if you want to be a Democrat or a liberal, you can stand up against your party's lies and manipulations at any point in time. You can move over to the middle, you can join the right, you can do whatever you want as long as you learn,
change, and grow.
And that's not happening when MK Ultra's projects aren't even discussed. When Americans today aren't even aware of the problems and situations that they've been under. We talked about one project in MK Ultra that literally learned seed oils would kill humans, which we already kind of knew that. And what did we see immediately after that sub-project ended? We see seed oils introduced to Americans on a massive scale. So MK Ultra learned seed oils were nasty, and only RFK Jr., appointed by Trump, is finally addressing that here in 2025 and 26. That's why we're doing such a big special on MK Ultra. Is there so much more to get into tomorrow and so much more to get into next week? We need you to understand that you're up against bad actors.
Army of bad actors.
And without the knowledge, you're going to lose that battle.
Yes,
so stay tight, get it right, and learn, change, and grow. We stand united together wherever you're from.
Let's lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for tuning in today. God bless America, and we'll be back tomorrow. Just never forget,
you can't
spell daddy without the Addy. I said you can't spell daddy without the Addy.
Don't forget to do the category 1.
Wait, what?
Category 1.
And now that the show is done for MK Ultra, we'll test over to
category.
It's important that we teach you and you learn, change, and grow every time. And this show was primarily about MK Ultra, so you may have learned some things, but we want to make you stronger each and every way that we can. And it's Family Fun Day Friday, so let's go through some reminder. One thing that we learned from MK Ultra were 3 rules. Okay,
Ready.
Addy, you know rule number 3, but we've got to get you to memorize rule number 1. Number 1, which MK Ultra did, know more
about your customer better than anyone else. I don't know this.
Yep, Uncle Marcus is great at that. Uncle Marcus knows that.
I
know more about the customer than anybody else does, right? This is why preachers are good. This is why people who have sinned and been forgiven and step into their journey, they're able to reach other individuals who have also made those mistakes. People who have failed connect with other people who have failed more than others do because they understand that pain, they understand that suffering, and they rebound, they get back up. And that motivates others that share those similar passions and feelings, right? And so marketing, agency, you, whoever you're interviewing with, whoever you are going to interview with tomorrow or any part of your life, anybody you're going to meet at a farmer's market, your neighbors, guys, the number 1 way MK Ultra will show you, the CIA projects will tell you, know more about the customer than anybody else. I'll tell you right now, if you have a friend that knows something about you and the other friends forget, who do you think is more thoughtful?
The friends didn't forget.
That's right. So just knowing some general information already gets you across the board. In fact, in group meetings, when you go to business meetings, knowing people's names, just doing the basic of remembering their name makes them feel important, special, and like somebody, and that connects you. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah, Daddy's horrible with names, so I shouldn't use that as an example, but that's one way that you do that. There are lots of ways to show people you care and are thoughtful. My mother was amazing at it, so I feel like I'm a hopeless romantic because of her. But when it comes to business, you want to think from your customer side of view, what they want, what they're looking for. And in order to know more about them, you need to know who your audience is. Right?
Right.
Number 2.
Get closer to your customer better than anyone else. That's the rule I need to go more.
Get closer to your customer
better than anyone else. I think I got that one down with my brother.
We'll give an example. One of the best flooring, or the best flooring tile company in the world, franchises out. They have one here in Florida, and it is the number 2 or number 3 ranked franchise out of all of them right here in Pensacola, Florida.
Yep.
And guess what? How do they get closer to all their other competitors?
How?
They drive their hardwood floor. They drive all of their studio, their showroom. They drive it to the customer. They actually go to their home, to their house with no obligation to buy anything. They show up and they let individuals see everything in their house. How awesome is that?
That's amazing.
That's rule number 2 right here. If people have to drive to your store, go out of their way to come do all the shopping, that's already inconvenient.
Yeah.
That's why location matters. So if you have a location where there's real foot traffic, then people will come your way. But if you can take your product and you can go to where the customer is that in fact getting closer than anyone else?
Yes.
That's one way to look at that. That's physically getting closer than anyone else.
Yes.
But let me show you another way to get closer than anybody else. Do you care about little kitties?
Yes.
You sure do.
I love little kitties.
That's right. So if I was going to advertise to Addy, or if I was going to trick Addy to do something she didn't want to do, or if I was going to try to communicate with Addy and I used a kitty, is Addy going to be more open to it?
I'm going to be more open to it unless I...
Absolutely,
unless I find out you're using a robot kitty.
Well, think about this too. Here's a bad angle for that, right? Number 2, get closer to the customer than anyone else. What does a stranger do when he tries to kidnap kids, right? Hey, kids, I got some candy. Right? Now, does a kid want to walk up to the crazy van and get into the van with a stranger?
No.
No. But if he's got candy, does a kid generally like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see how simple that was? That was very simple. That was a very simple process of understanding the high level, get closer to a customer better than anyone else. And number 3, Addy, I don't need to open the book for this one because you got this one down.
What should I do with my eyes closed? Emotionally connect better than anyone else.
That's right. Emotionally connect better with anyone else, guys, because we care, you care, and humans care. All right? Even robots, I'm pretty sure, care to some degree, right? They've been talking about the digital intelligence. But humans care. We all love. Yeah. We all want better. And part of the problem is not themselves. Part of the problem isn't even them. So you may have people in your life that you're not thrilled about. You may have some friends that you don't even really call friends. You may have some acquaintances that you don't even like to say hi to. And we understand. We get it. It makes sense. People have to be held accountable for their actions. And you don't want to listen to what some of these people say and post all the time. So we get it. But please, please remember at the end of the day that those individuals aren't even probably making decisions for themselves. They're not making what's best. Their projects of Project MK Ultra, mind control devices, techniques that were learned and developed by the smartest in America and advertisers to mess with their way of thinking, to mess with the way they talk, to mess with the way they communicate. And all of that was to decrease our freedom, okay? They don't want a population as strong as you. They don't want a population as strong as me. They want a weaker population. This doesn't mean everyone. This means those that want a weaker population are using those techniques.
Yes.
Those of us that want a stronger population are watching the show and making shows. Right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's enough for Addy today. She did a long show today. We're going to get a break and get some fun in. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, guys. We love you. God bless America. And have a wonderful day.
And this time's for real. You can't spell daddy without the Addy.
I said you can't spell daddy without the Addy. God bless America.
Have a blessed day.